Hey everyone, this is Carmack, and today's tutorial is about how to use the Advantage 1200 test scanner and its accompanying software data link from Epperson print product. In order to use the scanner and software correctly, there are a few things that you have to do to get information together for the scanner. The scanner usually only has the student number on the Scantrons, and then so in order to associate the student number with their name, you have to prepare a course roster. And in order to do this, you have to log on to your course management software. In our case, that's Blackboard, download some information and create a file to give the software information that it needs that will assist you in collecting data about your students. So let's get started. The first thing we want to do is log into Blackboard. I've already done that, and I went into the Full Grade Center and I selected the tab up at the top that says Work Offline Download, and that brought me to this screen. So what you want is user information only, and you want it to be a comma delimited file, not a tab delimited file. So that's really, really important that you select comma. Next, you're going to want to submit. That brings you to the screen, but you need to download it now. This goes straight into my downloads folder. I can clear this, close this window, click OK, and minimize my gradebook because that's all the information I need at this point in time. So I'm going to want to open this file because it has more information that I need. So you're going to come to this first column because that's where all the information is. You're going to select it. You're going to go to Data, Text 2 Columns. You want delimited selected. You're going to click Next. It's usually on tab, but you want to select comma, next, and then finish. And then that puts things into columns. So it needs to be in a different format, and there's some columns that aren't needed. So we don't need username. So we select the column, right click, delete it. We also don't need last access and availability. So click on that, right click, delete. Now, student ID needs to be first, so let's cut that. Put it over here in the first column, right click, insert cut cells. We also need first name to be first, so we want to cut that, insert it here, and that gives us our information. We also don't need this header row, so we want to delete that. Now we want to save this. Make sure that when you save this, that it is set to CSV and then save. This time I saved it to the desktop instead of my downloads folder. I'm going to close this. Now I'm going to open my data link software so I can put this information in there. The data link software is located on the bottom toolbar. It looks just like the hardware. You're going to open that, and it's going to bring up a new session. You're going to want to go to File, Student Database. Since many people will be using this machine, you will have to import and clear your database each time you use the machine. But it's very simple to do, and once you have your database set up, you only need to do that once. So you're either going to keep this on your personal drive that you can log into and access it, or probably the most easy way to do this would be to create a flash drive with your gradebook on it so that you can bring it back and forth between the office computer and this computer. We're going to import students. We're going to go to where the folder file is and click open, and that brings in their name, their ID number, first name, and last name. So now we have created the database file so that we can begin a scanning session. Okay, now that we have our students imported, I want to show you a few other features before we get started. Up here in Data Link Preferences, there's some things that you can fill out to suit you. It's pretty self-explanatory, but definitely do go through it on the scoring. You can make it be 1 point for each correct answer. You can make it 10 points. You can make it 5 points. This is where you can determine which one, the point value of the questions. The grid, if you don't like the color scheme, I guess you could change it. The yellow is going to tell you that the student got that question wrong. The blue tells you that those are the answer key. Gradebook. This is where you select information to upload to your gradebook of choice. In our situation, it's Blackboard, since we use Blackboard. So that's there. We don't need the proxy server, but there is another thing called Other. Here you could type in your name, and this is also where you're going to clear the student database after you are through scanning your results and saving your sessions. I also encourage you to click Verify ID numbers. That way, if the ID is not correct, the system's going to reject it. You can set it aside after you've scanned all the others, fix the ID, and then go back and scan it in. So I just wanted to make you familiar with all of these settings. So the next thing we need to do is scan a key, and I've already got one prepared and I'm putting it in the machine. When it scans through the machine, it tells me that there is 10 questions on here. These are the answers to the questions. So now I'm going to start scanning the students' answers. And then it's going to fill in the information with their name, even though their ID number was the only thing on the Scantron. And it's going to tell me how they did. It's going to show me the questions they got right and wrong. And on this particular Scantron I'm putting through, it says the ID number is incorrect, so it's rejecting it. So I need to go back and make sure that it is filled in correctly. And I notice on the Scantron that the last digit isn't filled in. So I fill in the last digit, put it through the machine. It now grades it, and I'm going to put the last one in. Okay, now we have this session graded. It only had a few students because this was a day that students decided not to come to class, so the professor threw a pop quiz out there to encourage attendance in the next class. So here's the information. So now you have a session. With this session, you can now do a gradebook export. But in order to do a gradebook export, once again, you need to go into Blackboard and get your most current version of your gradebook. You also want to create a column for this quiz, test, whatever it is that you're giving it, so that you can then automatically put the grades into the system. Now, since this is just a random example, I can't actually upload it to the gradebook export because I don't want to frighten any students out there, but you would just click here, choose your file, and do you want it to appear as a score or a percentage? You have the option, and then you export it. What that does is it puts that column in your gradebook. Now you open that spreadsheet before you upload it to Blackboard to make sure it went in the appropriate column. Many times it puts it in the last access column. All you have to do is highlight the column and move it to the appropriate grade column. Then you can upload it to Blackboard, and you don't have to sort it in any certain way because it's going to base it all on the 700 number. So it's going to put the grade in where the 700 number is. The other thing that I wanted to show you is these reports that are available. And the reports are very similar to what you get from testing services now, only it is in a form that you can look at. Look at your class roster. There's all kinds of things. And you can also do exports of the exact same thing. So maybe you only want item analysis and detailed item analysis. You can create those files for yourself too. So what you want to do now is save the session, and you can give it a unique name. By default, it does this name with the date. Make sure that it says Apperson file extension name so that you know this, and then save it either to your flash drive or the desktop, or if you logged into your personal drive, wherever it is that you want to save it. Now you can take this test session back to your computer and manipulate the data, play with it, look at it, do whatever it is that you need to. Now let's say 5 more students came in and they also took the quiz, and you want to add that Scantron. If you save the session, you can come back to the software. Let's just go ahead and save this to the desktop. And then let's close out of this. So now it's like you don't have a file open. So you're going to come to the data link, and in this time you're going to have open a saved session, and it's on the desktop. There it is. We're going to open it, and it brings the information back in. Let's say I want to scan 5 more Scantrons from this session for students who made up the test. Come to transmit key. It sends the key back to the scanner. You're now ready to scan those additional Scantrons and get the data that you need. Save it again, and you're ready to go. So this is how to use the AccuScan 1200 from Apperson and the Data Link software. I hope you've enjoyed today's sessions. Again, if you have any questions or need any additional training, just let me know.